Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. A quick apologies to our Discord members, or our Patreon members that are in the chat. We're a little bit late getting started, but we are joined by regular co-host Ben. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad at all. Getting a bit worried about this title race now. Keeping one eye on this Liverpool Villa scoreline because we want Spurs to stay motivated.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, doing all right. Obviously, Tony is off sunning himself, although he did join us on that deadline stream round by the pool at the weekend. But filling in his place, we've got special guest Andy Barnett. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Great. Thanks a lot for having me on again. Enjoyable thing to be on the podcast talking about what we all love.
Yeah, it's been a little while since the last time you came on. How you been getting on so far this season?
To start off with, I did all right. I think I parked the bus around the same time as yourself and Colesy, Ben Coles. And I wasn't too far away. I was only a few points away, but it kind of came to a halt when everybody started having problems with the defence, where everybody's defence kept getting injured, and there were players that I wanted to put in. There's a little bit of that, and also a little bit of player prejudice, really. Every year you get like a player that you don't want to put in, like whether it's Darwin Núñez or somebody that's young, like a young Phil Foden, and you think, well, they're not going to really do as well as you think you'd hope that they would. So you think, well, I don't want to put them in, and that can sort of like cause a problem going forwards, and that's what happened this season. I stopped myself from putting Palmer in for Chelsea. And Watkins, he's always done crap when I've put him in. So when he scored, I've never had him in, and then I've put him in, and then he stopped scoring, and then I thought, I'm not putting him in again. So yeah, it's like a merry-go-round. However, I'm finishing the season strongly. I think I'm somewhere around 1,700. I was in the top 200 at one point, but like I say, things went south. But with regards to my mini league, I'm doing fine. I was, once things started going bad, I ended up, I was 100 points in front, then I went to about 50 points behind a couple of guys in my mini league. But now I'm back in front of about 40 points ahead. My team's strong as far as I'm concerned, and I'm feeling confident I might win my mini league. So I can't really complain.
You've been enjoying the new format, though. Overall, we'll have a couple questions on it a little bit later, but overall, you found it all right?
Do you know what? I really enjoyed. I enjoy the new format, and the reason being is it makes football more enjoyable, because the different ways that players are scoring points, it puts a different angle on the game when you're watching it. It's like if one of your players is playing, you're like watching what they do, and you're thinking, yeah, go on, run with the ball. Yeah, get past that player, or have a shot on goal, because I've got the keeper as well, and you want the keeper to save it. And, it's
our match chat
more exciting.
Our match chat in the Discord has never been this lively. People are cheering shots on target, saves, tackles. Like, it's crazy, isn't it?
It certainly is.
We'll go straight on to the GW35 top point scorers so far. I'll say so far because we do have some more midweek games, and we've also got Villa Liverpool, which is currently on. So we won't be able to see what's going on in that yet. But are we all on Vardiol at the moment? Have you got him in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Another 2 goals. Just can't stop scoring. We were comparing him to Gundogan in the group chat, because he's just, they always have one player each season, don't they, City, that sort of comes in clutch, and it seems to be Vardiol recently. I think that's like 5 goals he's on now. So yeah, I think if you haven't got him already, I think he's going to be in most people's teams You two were you both on Elise earlier on in the season?
Yeah.
At one point, I think I had Elise and Eze for 1 week. But yeah, I've had Elise in my side. Earlier on in the season, I think Eze was the one that people were wanting to put in, around game week 9, 10. Mm-hmm. All the injuries happened, so
yeah, I had him captain for a double game week, and he smashed the first game and got injured for the second game.
Oh, that was it. I was trying to remember it because I didn't get on that, but quite a few people went for the Palace players, and I remember it sort of half paid off, didn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit like the Villa last week, where they were one of the only teams doubling, Palace and Everton, and Olise's stats. Well, he's still got the second best points per game in the game at the moment, just because he's been injured. He hasn't scored as many points as the top scoring players.
You reckon he'll still be there for next season?
I don't know, because he was close to going to Chelsea last year, weren't he? And they cancelled it.
They were saying that Bayern Munich were after the manager. I think I read today.
Yeah.
They were trying to prize him away. He's not been there 5 minutes, has he?
No, Palace saying they want 100 million for him.
100 mil. I'd sell him. I'd flip him for that. You might be able to keep Eze and Elise then.
Yeah.
I think with the financial fair play, a lot of the less rich teams, with regards to revenue, they have to sell the best assets to be able to, to not get deducted points like Everton or Nottingham Forest, really. So they have to sell them to keep things afloat.
I'll shout some guys out in the chat because I'll call this giving a stick. We've got Gaz in the chat saying Vardiol's got as many league goals as Gabriel Jesus. All right. He's basically a striker anyway, and he is Vardiol. We've got Nathan Wisby in the chat as well. Good evening to you all, guys. And Buemo, Tarkowski, we're not going to be acting on this. Usually at the start of the season, when we look at these like player season totals, it's good to pick people out, but we're probably not looking very far outside of City, are we, at the moment? Anyone else that jumps out? Maybe Silva?
Yeah, Trossard. Trossard could be a good one for the last game. Yeah, Everton at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's always a little bit of a minutes risk, isn't he, because of Martinelli. But I've seen comparisons going around of him and Lundberg recently, just saying how he just constantly seems to pop up with goals. Quite like that.
Sorry, which question was that you were talking about?
Oh no, I was just saying, anyone else on this list that jumps out to you?
Oh, on the list for the last weekend. All right. Not really. I think Arsenal are going to have a good game, but obviously the main man's not there, and I would go for Saka really, and I think Haaland's going to have a good last game as well, but obviously he's not on the list either. We're only getting 2 points so far.
We'll wait and see what Salah does. I reckon he might be fairly popular for next week, but top 1K ownership. We're starting to see it all now flood towards the same sort of players. You've got Haaland, 99.5, Foden, 99, Cole Palmer, 97.7. Are you both thinking keep him for the last game? Bournemouth home?
Cole Palmer?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the minute, in my team, I've got Isak, Son, Cole Palmer, and White, who are not going to be playing in the FA Cup final. So my thoughts are probably in the last weekend, I'm going to take Isak and Ben White out, possibly, and leave Son because he's up against Sheffield United, and leave Palmer against Brighton Hove Albion. It's a toss-up. but I'm edging more towards leaving Palmer in. I could leave White and Son in, but Son's definitely staying. But 2 of the 4 rogue players are going to get removed and they're going to be Man City players that go in for it, to be honest with you. Because the way Manchester United are playing at the moment, it's terrible. Yeah. I can't see them even getting a save from Ederson. Oh, it won't be Ederson, will it? It'll be Olsen.
Ortega.
Not Olsen, Ortega. They're just playing rubbish at the moment.
What did you?
It all depends on what happens to Bruno Fernandes, doesn't it? Because
that's exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah, I've got Fernandes, and if he's not playing midweek, because they're playing, is it Newcastle that they're playing?
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't play Newcastle, I might not take the risk, and I might have to take him out anyway this weekend. But we'll see.
Did you keep hold of Bruno, Ben?
Yeah.
In the end?
Yeah, I thought if he doesn't play at the weekend, at least he might get the Newcastle game. But it sounds like he's 50-50 for that now. So
yeah, comments weren't good. Where it sort of sounded like it'd be a big doubt for the second one as well, which is not great. Especially if maybe there's even a chance that they're just going to doss along till the FA Cup final.
You might just think, oh, this game's so important, this last game in the Cup against City. You might just say, oh, just take it easy now.
And that's what Rooney
was saying. Did you hear what Rooney was saying after?
What?
Yeah, where he was sort of calling out the players, saying like, obviously back in his day, everyone used to play through injuries, and he was saying he knows for a fact there's players in that United squad that have got injuries they can play through, but he thinks they're sort of keeping themselves fresh for the Euros and the FA Cup final.
So, definitely.
I
think the term used was hiding behind their injuries.
Was that what he said, was it?
I think that was the term that he used, yeah.
Most transferred in by the top 1K. We had Isak up at top. You both got him as well?
Yes.
Getting very samey.
Yeah.
And then I think, is that all 3 of us on Son as well? I was looking at our teams just before.
Yeah, I've got Son. I don't think Tony had put him in. He doesn't like him.
He went Jackson.
Yeah, all us 3 have got Son, yeah, I think.
Yeah, well, he's turned out to be the winner so far again with Nicholas Jackson, who's got bought in by 16.9%. Nicholas Jackson grabbed the gold and he got a booking. But then Kyle Walker, the story of Kyle Walker. So I think people either had great luck or terrible luck with him, because obviously we found out on the live stream from the leaks that Kyle Walker was benched. I scrapped my whole transfer plans based on that. I think, did Tony take him out for Ake, or did Tony keep him in?
Tony took him out.
Yeah.
I think Tony took him out.
Ake.
And did he put Ake? Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah. He's bought Ake in. So that leak, Tony ended up not going with Walker, bringing Ake in. Ake's injured within 20 minutes. Walker comes on, keeps the clean sheet. Can't write it really, can you?
That's so annoying when, say, you're not engaged, and you just say, oh, yeah, I'm putting Walker in this week, and then you go off and maybe you're working, or you ain't got time to look at it on the Saturday, and then you've looked it out by getting Walker off the bench and a clean sheet, and then like Tony's engaged, he's thought, right, I'll put Ake in, and then Ake gets injured in the first half and comes off, and he gets to get 1 point. Yeah. So it's just crazy how that happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's pure. It's it's just unlucky, isn't it? We've got questions coming later about like the new deadline, or like the new deadline. How do we like the new deadline compared to the old? But even if you'd have had the old deadline, that would have caught you out again, wouldn't it? Still, really.
Yeah, of course it would.
Sometimes it's not your day. And then 8.3% bought in Bruno Fernandes, when obviously they'd mentioned that he was in training. I think Ten Hag had said that he trained. But yeah, not in the squad. So caught people out.
He said it was a last minute thing, wasn't it? He dropped him out of the squad last minute.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes. But I don't think there's anything major else there. But we've got Ollie Watkins, number 1 troll, from last week. Double game week, captained by 80% last week. Got nothing. Tonight, he's already on an assist. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the score sheet as well, to be honest. Bukayo Saka. Any of you guys on him still? Because I kept him in the end.
I took Bukayo Saka out because I wanted to have Isaac and Son in this week. So I took Saka and Watkins out because I needed to reduce the number of players that were only having one game and put in some double game week players this week. So
makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not turning out too good for people that have put Isaac and Son because they've only got 3 and 4 points respectively. And the only saving grace is that Haaland's only got 2 points this week so far.
Yeah, but still one more game to go. And what did Saka finish on in the end? Was it 4 or 3?
4.
So you're at least up on that move, and you got another go, haven't you?
That's correct. Well, I've captained Son this week.
Oh, you went for
so
it.
He's up against Man City. I was hoping that I'd get all the points in Burnley game. Yeah.
Was that your Blackburn, Ed, pushing you to smash Burnley?
Kind of. Well, the main thing is that we're going to be playing them again next season, so we can give them a smashing then.
Yeah. I had it on Son up to about 15 minutes before the deadline, and then I thought, well, Haaland at home, they've had seven penalties in 7 games against Fulham, and guess what? They had another penalty at the weekend, so that's 8 games in the trot. But Haaland wasn't on the pitch when they got the penalty.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just typical, isn't it? Like he was smashing the goals in last week. He had a couple 1-on-1s that he just absolutely shanked, and then he goes off and gets the penalty. Like.
And I didn't watch the game. Didn't Vardiol give the penalty? He didn't want to take the penalty for his hat trick.
Yeah.
No,
he surrendered it, didn't he?
He said that Alvarez is the one that's higher in the pecking order, so he should take it. And I just think it was a sensible decision, because if he'd have missed, and obviously the goal difference, if Spurs draw with Man City this in midweek, then it could come down to goal difference. And can you imagine losing by 1 goal? And it's that penalty that he's missed. So I can understand why he did it.
Yeah, very, very, very professional. I'd have taken it.
I would have taken it too. Can anybody remember another defender scoring a hat trick in the Premier League?
I don't think there has been, has there?
I think they said that he would have been the first defender in the Premier League. Maybe Premiership. Maybe Premiership.
I haven't fact checked this, but I remember Dave Watson scoring a hat trick for Everton, and he's a centre back. I need to double check that though.
Yeah, it won't surprise me if going way back, like John Terry, he used to score, and Frank Leboeuf, he used to score quite a lot of goals as well.
I'm sure I heard after they were saying to him, "Oh, like you could have been the first defender to get a hat trick," but yeah, maybe pre-Premier League perhaps. But Ben, I was going to ask you on to take us through the fixtures, but not much left. Slim pickings.
Yeah. So obviously after tonight and midweek, it's single game day in game week 36, and hopefully we get some leaks because it's all kick off at 4:00. So the deadline will be 3:00 on Sunday. And then after that, FA Cup final and Gaming 37. 2 more transfers for that. I was going to say we're doing a deadline stream, a pre-deadline stream, aren't we, on the Saturday?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to go early on early on the Saturday, or if we decided. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, on the Saturday, yeah, because on the Sunday I'll be at the Emirates by that time. Probably bricking it a little bit. If Spurs can get the job done, at least. for us tomorrow. Any single game weeks that stand out to you, Andy, that you might take a gamble on?
Well, to be honest with you, you've got Liverpool against Wolves. They're at home against Wolves. And the other one that stands out for a different reason is, well, I just fancy Crystal Palace. They're playing really well. And I know they're playing Aston Villa. They're playing Aston Villa at the last game. But I just fancy Crystal Palace because they're at home. If Eze and Elise are both playing, as well as Mateta, they just seem to be banging goals in left, right and centre. So I fancy Crystal Palace that last weekend. Whether I'd want to put one of their players in, not really, because I've got the players that I want. Son's playing Sheffield United, and then you've got Palmer against Brighton. So, no, not Brighton, Bournemouth, isn't it? Yeah, Palmer against Bournemouth. And then you've got Arsenal against Everton. I've got White in there as well. So any players that I take out are most probably going to be replaced by a Man City player, but I just haven't quite decided yet who. I've got Foden, De Bruyne and Haaland, but it's just a case of, is it going to be Bernardo Silva, Rodri, possibly Doku? You know, I fancy he might get a start on the last game. And then, you know, or I could put an extra defender in, getting ready for the final, because I don't think Man U have got any chance. Where they're playing at the moment, they haven't got any chance of scoring a goal against Man City in the League Cup final. So, yeah, I've just seen that Liverpool have gone an extra goal up. It's 3-1 now.
Lovely stuff. That's what we want to see. I'm cheering on Liverpool today, and I hate to say it, but I'm cheering on Spurs tomorrow. Kwanzaa.
Just quickly, I just found some information on that about the hat-trick of goals for hat-trick goals for defenders. And the Steve Watson one, David Moyes converted him from fullback to attacking midfielder to play against Leeds in 2003, and he scored a hat-trick. So he was a defender, but he was playing out of position in a 4-0 win. And Dennis Irwin scored a hat-trick in Europe for Man United.
In Europe, though?
Yeah, in Europe.
Was Paul Warhurst playing in the Premier League? Because he was a defender, wasn't he? It was Sheffield Wednesday.
He used to play striker as well, though, didn't he?
Yeah. But he was still classed as a defender.
Yeah. And Steve Staunton, he scored a hat-trick off the bench against Wigan from left-back for Liverpool in the League Cup in 1989, which is before the Premier League. But
yeah,
Gaz said Alvin Martin. I don't know if that's been fact-checked.
He played for West Ham, didn't he?
Yeah, if we're talking David Moyes and converting defenders to attackers, then I'm sticking Antonio in the mix then for his hat-trick against Norwich.
Yeah.
He was the right back.
Yeah.
not at the time he scored it, though.
Good shout.
Right, let's move on. If you're enjoying it so far, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Patreon members, there's a link in the description below to become one. We're going to do content throughout the Euros as well, so it's not going to be a quiet summer. We're going to have Euro content coming out. We do regular articles, watch lists, and our Discord chat server is popping off on a daily basis, probably currently on the match chat. And then something else a bit more exciting. We've got the Dream Team Euro 2024 Cash League. So if you're interested in joining that, I think there's going to be a whole host of prizes, not just your first, second, and third winners every round of games based on points accumulated. So yeah, have a look at this, screenshot it. It's on Twitter as well if you want to check it out there. But yeah, if you get in touch with Tony, he'll help sort out your entry for that. Just DM us on Twitter. You boys looking forward to the Euros?
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it because we've it's done in the same format as the Dream Team this year, or there are a couple of small changes, but we've now had a season where we can see how the new scoring systems affect your choices. So there's certain players that you'll pick because they're good on the bonus matrix, or they're good at getting shots on goals and stuff. And when there's an international tournament, teams tend to play different international teams. So I'm quite confident going into it that I'll do quite well. But the pricing, I've had a quick look at it, and the pricing looks like it's quite tough because a lot of the players are a lot of money. But yeah, I'm excited to get my teeth stuck into it. It's over a smaller bite size, isn't it? Over the space of a month. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, different. It looks different to the last year, doesn't it? With that, obviously, it looks like we're going to have match days, so you'll only be able to make changes sort of once a round almost, which I don't feel like I like that as much as if we were able to make moves every sort of day. We were talking about that, weren't we, Ben?
Yeah.
You like your gaining your fixtures.
Yeah, well, in the last tournament, obviously, I finished 8th and 16th so overall, and obviously, if you know how to start it and look at the fixtures, you can jump about and bring players in, and you can gain fixtures that way. But this year, it looks like obviously you're just going to all the teams are going to play one game, and then you're going to pick players from that round, and then they play another game, you pick players from that round. So you're not going to get any 2-for-1s or 3-for-1s or anything like that. So yeah, it's going to be a bit harder. I think there's 3 transfers every round until we get to the quarterfinals. You get 5 transfers. Oh, you get unlimited after the group stages, unlimited transfers. So it's basically a wild card, and then after the quarterfinals, you get another 3 million as well.
Mm-hmm.
So no price changes.
Yeah. Well, it'll probably be a bit more laid back this way, at least. And you've got to join it. I think it was 25 grand to the winner.
Yes.
I saw that they've added a second place.
5 grand.
Yeah, 5 grand for the second, because there's no second place prize really this year, is there? It's just straight down to 1.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal. So they've put that 5k. Yeah.
And then the following 20 get a grand each.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
22 prizes.
Got to be worth joining, people. We've got a few people in the Discord that are on for prizes potentially for this season's game as well. So good luck to all those guys. Bit relieved because Ian was saying that Watkins scored, made it 3-2. And I was
offside.
I was about to lose my head, but yeah, offside. Cheers, Ian, our co-commentator. We need to keep up to date. Right, listener questions from our Patreon, and then we've got a couple from Twitter as well. So, list your ideal game week 37 team if you could have 11 players from City or United combined. This is from Mabba, and Ben the Joker has gone in and said the Man City 11. I think we'll be in agreement. I'll break it down and turn it round. Is there any United players that you're going to pick at the minute?
Obviously, if Bruno's he's in my team at the moment, and if he's fit for the weekend, I'll just leave him in. But he's the only one I would really buy. I can't see anything exciting there for United. I was looking at the points as well. Like in the last 5 games, I think Mainu's got 37 points. He's the second highest player. So Bruno Fernandes is a standout player.
By you, Andy.
Do you know what? I think Manchester United have a chance of scoring 1 goal. So the only player that I would even consider putting in from Manchester United, I've got Bruno and Delors, and so I have to obviously suck it and see. But if I had a choice of the players, I would probably put Onana in goal, and that'd be the only Man U player that I'd put in goal, because I think a goal might come, but you wouldn't know which player it had come from. But I just think Onana, even when Man U are getting beat 2-3-0, he still manages to get about 3 or 4 points for his saves.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he still managed to do all right, didn't he? Was it 5? I think it was 5 saves, I think he had against Arsenal. Busy keeper. Yeah, do you know what? I wouldn't go with any, to be honest. And then on the City front, I mean, we've just seen how highly owned a lot of them are. You've mentioned Doku. You fancy him as a bit of a City differential? Because otherwise, I think everyone's going to have pretty similar players, aren't they?
I think with a lot of mini leagues and how people are playing, I think the differential is not the actual player that you have in, but who you captain. That would be my opinion.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that captain for the final. My auto thinking was just Haaland. But like, yeah, it depends where you are in your league, I suppose. Yeah, when we were chatting about differential captains, I thought you meant the week before for the single. But yeah, I didn't think about that for the final. My first thought just went straight to Haaland. Be a ballsy one.
Yeah, I like.
Everybody else would have Haaland, but if you're a few points behind somebody, the chances are they're just going to captain Haaland to be on the safe side. So you'd have to go different. You'd need somebody different, and you fancy Man City to score a few goals. De Bruyne's possibly going to be an assister. Foden could possibly score the goals instead of Haaland. You could have Guardiola tearing it up again. You could go for like a clean sheet. Go for one of these defenders, for instance, like either Kyle Walker or Guardiola. And if they do pop a goal in and get a clean sheet, then it's going to be hard for Haaland to beat their score. So if you've got them captained, then that's a good differential, isn't it?
That'd be mad, captaining a defender on the final day. I don't think many of us would have captained the defender all season, would we? Let us know in the chat if you have. I definitely haven't.
If Trent was fit all season, I reckon there'd have been a few people captaining him for certain games.
People might be put off Haaland captaincy when they see Casemiro and Johnny Evans lining up against him. Powerhouses. Plever said in the questions, it seemed that having an injured goalkeeper doesn't seem to matter anymore, and players would sooner use that transfer for attacking options, returns elsewhere in their team. Does Sun Dream Team need to rethink the point scoring for goalkeepers? Obviously, that's sort of a bit of a spin-off on what we've done throughout the season, really. I think we probably have all held a keeper at some point, haven't we, that has either been injured or not played, or I can think of a few already. But what's your take on this?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Well, going through the season, Tony's probably proved with the position that he's in at the moment that it wasn't, necessary with a goalkeeper, because the first part of the season there were hardly anybody keeping clean sheets. However, one thing that I have noticed, and I think the Sun are probably going to use this Euros tournament as a tester for some new points. One thing that I've noticed, just having a quick read through the rules, players are going to get 6 points for a goal and 3 points for an assist. So rather than having 5 points for a goal and 2 points for an assist, it's redressed the balance for players that assist more to be more desirable to put in your team. And the goalkeepers, when it comes to your player performance marks, that will get your bonus 1, 3, or 5 points. Goalkeepers now, for a successful claim, if they run out and catch the ball from a corner, or a successful punch if they punch it away from the goal, or a keeper sweep, I'm assuming that's where the ball gets hit forward and the keeper gets to the ball before the attacking player and just hoofs it upfield. Each of those 3 different things will get 1 player performance mark. So imagine there's some keepers that can do that a lot during a game. And they could potentially, if they can get 12 of those in a game, that's 5 player performance marks for a keeper. So I think the Sun are doing something with regards to trying to get the keepers to get more score and make them more important, so as to speak.
Yeah, do you reckon they'll carry that on? It's got to be a test, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think that, because so now it's 6 points for a goal, and you're getting 1 point extra for a shot on target as well. So it's 7 points for a goal, really, isn't it? I think you need to up the clean sheets to at least 6 points, because if it's only 5 points for a clean sheet, you're gonna just pick attacking players all the time. I mean, outfield. I think the keepers maybe should get 7 points for a clean sheet and 6 points for the defenders for a clean sheet. And the saves, I think it should go down to 0.5 for one save instead of 1 point for 2 saves. Because there'll be times where he's made 5 saves and you'll miss out on that half a point, because you're waiting for that 6th save. You should just get half a point. I think they do that in fan team. So you get half a point for a save.
Do you think that... Sorry.
I agree with Ben. But I think, personally, keepers, why can't... If a striker gets a point for a shot on target, why can't a keeper get a point for 1 save?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would have been a less complicated way to do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Did you think it was a bit strange because I feel like people were crying out for assists to get another point. I don't really feel like people were that bothered about goals getting another point. Do you think that given an extra point for goals kind of takes away from there being an extra point for an assist almost? Because you've made an assist more boosted, but then the goal is as well. So does that cancel it out a little bit?
But then before, 5 points for a goal was more than 50%, weren't it? Now it's 50%. 3 points for a goal. Sorry, 3 points for an assist. 6 points for a goal. It's 50% now, isn't it? Before it was more. It was like 66 or something. I don't know how to work it.
I liked what you said about.
I think the balance. Sorry, there's a little bit of a delay, so I didn't realise. Sorry. I think the balance has gone more to the actual assisters.
Yeah.
Because when somebody assists a goal, they get like a big chance created, as opposed to a shot on goal as well as the goal. So when you think about it, before it was 6 points against 3 points, and now it would be 4 points against 7 points. So it is more than 50% in favour of the actual assister, providing it's just like an assist where they pass the across goal and scores from it, and not pass them it in the middle of the pitch and then they run down and then score.
They take on like 4 players and then score.
Yeah.
I'm at least happy that they are trying to think of something, because like Plev said in the question, keepers at times do feel dispensable compared to some of the outfield players, at least. So it's good that they are doing something about it. I had a little look at this with Plev's question. I had a bit too much time on my hands, but I had a little look at the United Arsenal game from the weekend. So we're giving player performance marks to goalkeepers. What do we reckon that Onana got if we based it on these new rules? So we've got sweeps, punches, and claims. If you had to guess a total,
I'd guess that Onana would have probably out of that game 3 points.
Ben?
5.
Onana had no sweeps, no punches, and no claims, apparently, based on Opta.
Based on that last weekend's game where they did absolutely nothing. You mean
in the game against Arsenal, Onana against Arsenal yesterday?
They played pants. I was watching out for that. They didn't do anything.
He wouldn't have had any of the new things, so he wouldn't have had any sweeps, punches, or claims. But he would have got 1 player performance mark for accurate passes. which is already on there. So he did get
Yeah.
1 ppm. And then David Raya.
Did he do 25 passes during the match? He
He
probably
had,
did, because that's all
yeah.
Man U did. They were just passing
Yeah.
the ball back to him.
27 he had, successful. And then David Raya, he would have got 2 ppm. So he had 1 punch and 1 claim. No sweeps. But yeah, it may not make as much difference as we think, but maybe it was a little bit of a quiet game. We'll have to wait and see. But I just thought worth having a little look at.
There are some games, though, where the goalkeeper's unplayable. You know, like they're just on everything. And, you know, like they're punching the ball out, claiming, especially if a team's chasing the game, they just keep putting crosses in and goalkeeper keeps catching it and throwing it out. So
yeah, it'll definitely be interesting because I know, just obviously from being an Arsenal fan, that they've been comparing Ramsdale and Raya quite a lot. But one of the reasons they liked Raya was because he had one of the best claims from crosses. Arsenal were struggling against teams that were putting crosses in, so he was quite good for that. So maybe that one to watch going into next season, maybe, or for the Euros. Nathan, best captain picks for game week 36. Ben, you want to kick us off?
Haaland. Yeah, but there's loads of different ones you could go for. Obviously, it's a single game day. Loads of differentials, loads of players with good fixtures. So, obviously, you got Foden and KDB as well, City. If you've got the balls, you could go Vardiol, but I mean, you can't see him scoring again, can you? He scored, how many goals he scored in his last 5 weeks or something? It's ridiculous. 5 goals.
I think it's 5 goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them.
I'll let Andy name some, and I'll see if he's missed some off.
Well, I've just put down Saka, because I think obviously the last game against Everton, Arsenal are obviously going to need to win. Saka's more or less in everything. He gets tackles, he gets, so it's going to. People are going to be putting a Man City player in there, aren't they? Especially even if Spurs. If Spurs get a draw against Man City, that last game on the weekend, I think I was talking to you, Scott, just before we went on air. It's going to be such a fantastic day, the final day of the season, because Man City will be 3 goals less on goal difference, and they're going to need to win by 3 more goals than Arsenal would potentially win Everton. So it'd make for a fantastic feat. And I can't see going against. There'd only be Saka that I'd go for as captain, other than Haaland or possibly De Bruyne or Foden, because I can see this last game day is going to be quite important, and it's probably going to be Man City player that you're going to need to captain. And depending on how close you are in your mini leagues, you might want to go different to Haaland, because most people are going to be captaining him.
I quite like the look of Salah if you've got him, or if your team's in a good enough position where you look like you've got, I don't know, 9 or 10 doublers, not doublers, finalists for 37. I don't think it's a bad punt. Last game at Anfield for Klopp, big send off. I'll say that he's not doing very well tonight. But yeah, I did like the look of Salah potentially, but he's on a 2-pointer currently, and we're in the 68th minute. So that might not be a good marker.
Yeah, there's literally loads of options. You've got Palmer and Jackson against Bournemouth at home. Obviously Son against Sheffield United. And then you've got Elise and Eze, who's just smashing it, aren't they, every time they play, but hopefully they don't get injured. But yeah, they're good options as well.
Yeah, like you say, it does all come down to, with Arsenal and City, it does come down to sort of where we are in the title race, doesn't it? Because, I mean, we've just seen what Arsenal dropped against Man United. They basically turned into Atletico, and I thought Arsenal were going to come out like in that Bournemouth game and go all out attack sort of thing and smash some goals in. But he was really quite defensive. Like, yeah, at the moment I can't see anything but vanilla Haaland for me. But we'll see how it's playing out. 36. Target 2 players. This is from Wisby as well. Target 2 players with good fixtures and points potential that only have the single, not from City or United. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be similar to what we were saying about the captaincy, but is there anyone out there? We just mentioned Salah. He's put Bernardo Silva, Mateta, or Garnacho.
Differentials, if you want to bring some players in. Gakpo, I think he'll be a good player to bring in for that Wolves fixture. Trossard, he scored. Yeah, I was 0.1 away from bringing him in as my Sky captain today. Couldn't get there. So, Trossard, as I said earlier, you got Jackson, Mateta is on fire. Johnson, if you fancy a differential in that Sheffield United game, something like that. Maybe Richarlison, but Richarlison hasn't started the last 2 games. And then you got like a Newcastle player. You could go for Isak, Gordon, or Wilson, but it's an away fixture against Brentford. So with that being an away fixture at Brentford, maybe Tony, last game for Brentford at home, could be a differential. Like you said, if you've got 8 or 9 Man City players and probably Bruno, you could do a 1 punt on something like that. It's got a bit different if you're chasing.
I'd probably go with obviously that question too. It's I'd go with one of each. One player that's only got 1 game and one that's obviously got 2. So I'd probably put someone like Bernardo Silva or Rodri, or a wild card like Doku in, and to go with him, I'd probably put Saka or Havertz or Odegaard from Arsenal. That's the way that I'd go with the way that my team looks at the moment, because like I say, I've got 4 players that are non-FA Cup final players anyway. So I don't want to be going too far afield where we're putting in differential players when I've already got them in my side.
Yeah.
So it'd be more. I'd aim more to getting more City in.
What about Havertz?
Yeah, that's it. I'd get 1 City, possibly Bernardo Silva, or it might even be a defender. Get another defender in, like put Walker in this time, and then I'd go for the other one. Would be either Saka, Havertz, or Odegaard. That would be for me. At the moment, Havertz is playing really well, isn't he? He's getting involved in quite a lot of plays, and he's getting the odd goal or 2. So, yeah, possibly Havertz.
Yeah, he's in really good form. 13 goals, 10 assists for the season. Havertz been a good signing. I think he's surprised a lot of people. In really good form. Do we even need to do this one? Best 2 Man U differential picks. Don't do it to yourselves. Johnny Evans. what are we saying, lads? Differential picks from Man U.
Garnacho and Casemiro, as long as Casemiro's not in defence. Because Casemiro does go up for corners and he does get his head on a lot of things and get shots off. So if I had to do 2 differentials, those would be the 2.
I like Garnacho. Garnacho did look pretty good. Maybe trying a little bit too hard with a few long-range shots and stuff, but I mean that is what you want, someone a bit greedy if you're going to be bringing him in. But I can't agree with Casemiro though. He looks done.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
What about you, Ben? Anyone?
No, don't go there.
Nah,
I think that Man United's in a really bad vein of form at the moment, and the fixtures aren't very nice. So I wouldn't go there.
It's lucky that it's an away game, isn't it? Their final one.
Yeah,
I think lucky because I think they could have got called off. I think
well, they've got
away to Brighton Hove Albion.
Yeah, they got Newcastle in midweek, and they at home.
Cool. It's going to be a wet one. Right, Magoo. This is a deep one. What lessons have we learned from the new game going into next season? Andy, you kick us off.
Okay. Lessons that I've learned. Part of the bus could possibly be better played later, because I've seen there's some players that have done really well, and then it's come up. I mean, there's two that spring to mind, and one of them is the other half of the Sky Fantasy Football podcast. And
Paul,
it's Paul McAnulty. He had a fantastic part of the bus from what I saw, but they've kept theirs right until the end. But by keeping them till the end, we've had conversations throughout the season saying that, like it's better to, rather than sorting your team out to get the best part of the bus, you're obviously taking away from your midfield and attacking assets. It might not be that great, but he's gone through the season where he's been making the right choices, and he has been behind and nobody's been thinking about him. And the same thing with Baz Bestos. People haven't been thinking about them. Then all of a sudden they start creeping up towards the end, and they've got this very powerful booster to play, which has really shot them up. So I really want Baz Bestos to do well this season, and also it'd be nice to see Paul do well. But out of those two, I have to say I'd much rather my tag team partner do the best if he can pull something out of the bag in the last week or two, and that's Tony, because he's doing really well, having a flying season. So the part of the bus, I think it's probably better played later, personal opinion, having looked at this season. And then talismans for teams. If you have a look at all the players that are getting the top scores, I'll just go to it now. Sorry, just be 1 second. In the stats center. Right, so if you look at the top 10 point scorers for this year, if you had to say who are the two talisman players, I know De Bruyne has won, but he were injured for half the season. But the other two players, the standout players, you've got Haaland and Foden. For Arsenal, talisman player, you've got Bukayo Saka. Talisman for Chelsea, Palmer. Talisman for Liverpool, Salah. Talisman for Man United, Bruno Fernandes. Talisman for Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins. Bowen and Kudus, talisman for West Ham. So all these, and even you could go as far as saying with Liverpool, you've got Núñez as well. Look at he's been shit all season, not scoring points, but look at how high up he is in the points. At the end of the year. So it just goes to show that the highest point scorers are the talisman for the teams. You've got Anthony Gordon and Guimaraes. I think Gordon's kind of a talisman, but look at all those players that are up there scoring the most points. It's talismans. So I think at the beginning of the season, we weren't just going for talismans, were we? We were going for people that we thought were good defenders, high-priced players that are not necessarily talisman, like a high-priced defender, like we were going for Trent Alexander-Arnold, but he's not a talisman for Liverpool. So I think we went the wrong way. So I think getting players in that are talismans in midfield and up front, the most important thing. And then obviously, once you've spent the money on them, then deal with your defence and your goalkeeper afterwards. And then the other thing that I'd say with lessons learned, don't hold on to players that are not performing. I think Ben's probably the best judge on that with regards to the beginning of the season. I think you held on to Rashford for ages, didn't you? Yeah. And also Bruno when they were going, when they weren't doing too well. I've been a victim of that as well by keeping play. I've kept Sterling, Ward-Prowse, and Maddison when they weren't performing, and that killed me off. At those times when I had those players, I were getting defender injuries as well, so I had to change them and keep the others. But really, I should have changed those. And basically, not. I think I mentioned this before. It's having prejudices against players. Cole Palmer, I've not really started putting him in until the mid to the end of the season. It's taken far too long for him to prove to me that he's a good enough player And I'm going on what he did for Man City last season. He only played bit parts in games and he never looked like a superstar. Whereas all season long, he's been a superstar for Chelsea. But it's taken far too long for me to put him in my team. And if I'd have put him in at the beginning, like most people, I'd have had a lot more points now. Even though I'm happy with where I am at the moment, but that's something that I need to learn for next season. And the same thing with Nunes. Look at how many points he scored. And I was very averse to putting him in, thinking that he's just rubbish, he can't score. But he's scoring points, isn't he?
It is hard though, isn't it? Because there's so many players where I feel like you said that you've given people too much time. I feel like I've had this season so many times where I've bought in a striker. They've had 2-3 weeks where they've not done anything. I take them out and then they deliver. There's definitely a knack of finding like the sweet spot between the two, isn't there? Because I feel like my season has been too much not giving a striker enough time and then taking them out before the hauls. We were talking about Ollie Watkins, and one of my new lessons is not to bloody captain him again because I've had no luck with that this season. It's hard. It's hard to try and work out what is the best timing. So I don't know if you ever do find out really, but the talismans thing is there's definitely something to it because I'd actually written down talismans, but I wrote it down for 12th man, and I think Ben is in agreement with this because we both fluffed the 12th man. I done Darwin Nunes, and I know you have said that he's a talisman, but yeah, I bought him in a double game week and 12th manned him, and I think he got he was on really good form as well, and I think he ended up with 1 assist across 2 games, and I think he only played like a 60 and 20 or something. So yeah, if that was a proper talisman, maybe a Solanke or someone that doesn't get subbed, I think that would have been a better shout.
Yeah, it's funny how you said that, Andy, about holding your part of the bus to the end of the season, because I pretty much held it quite. Oh, I don't know what we did. I help play in was 30 something, wasn't it? 31 or something. And I wish I used it earlier in the season. I wish I just got it out of the way, played it where there was decent players in my team already, and just think, right, whatever comes, and then I can concentrate on bringing in elite players. Because there was the week I played part of the bus, I brought Pedro Porro in as a preparation the week before, so that in case I got an injury in defence, which I did, I got Robertson injured, I would have been stuffed with 4 defenders. So I brought Porro in, got him in there because he had a good fixture, and he ended up conceding and not doing anything. And then I did say to everyone I wanted to bring Palmer in, and then Palmer goes and scores a hat trick or 4 goals or something daft, and I missed out on that. And then because I didn't have him in my team for the later on because I had other injuries, I still couldn't get to Palmer, and then he scored another hat trick. So yeah, I think I want to get rid of if there is a part of the bus next year, I want to get rid of it early. I'm hoping there isn't, but yeah. It looks they're not using it in the Euros game. They're doing an attacking.
This double, that double points for goals looks very interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I do think with those boosters, it's probably quite easy to look at what happened this season and think, oh, this person used it late, so it'll be good to do late, or this person used it early, so it'll be good to do it early. But a lot of it will just depend on how the fixtures fall or who's available when. I think because I was happy with mine, and it was early. But I mean, you could have played it the week after mine, and it may not have been good, and that was still early.
Mine was exactly the same week as yours, Scott. Yeah, and I was happy with the result. I think I got 48 points extra from it, for a double game week.
Yeah.
And I think at that time it was game week 9, if I remember correctly. And the way that I played the part of the bus is I didn't set up for it. I just made sure that I had European players, and I had one from different teams. So I had I think I had Matty Cash. It was all right back then. I had Matty Cash, and I had was it Trent? Was Trent playing at the time, or Robertson? And I had Kyle Walker or something like that. And then when the week came upon us, I just took 2 forward players out rather than setting up over a number of weeks. I just spread the amount, and then we were lucky. Dallo, that were it. I brought Dallo in, didn't I? And he scored a goal on that week, which did all right. And I had an Arsenal defender. That were it. It was Saliba or something like that. So, yeah, the week did all right. I got 48 points from it, so I can't complain. But I certainly feel that if I'd have, because if I'd have waited until later, you see things that look better than the week that you actually played it. And like over the last few weeks, Arsenal just seem to be keeping clean sheet after clean sheet. Man City's defence have tightened up and they're keeping clean sheets. Looking at the season as a whole, now I'm thinking if I'd have held my part of the bus, I would have probably used it towards the end when the title race was in full swing.
Yeah,
and you've
work
got
out who's better defenses.
That's great.
I suppose on the injury front, one thing that I think was all right on mine, and we're spending a bit too much time on part of the bus really, if it ends up not being on there, but it might work for strikers, is that like I did it when Trippier and Trent were both available, and there's not been that many times where both have actually ended up being available. So you might end up waiting for certain players to be back from injury, and it never sort of works out. Yeah, I think last thing, stop trusting these press conferences so much. Because they're all bloody lying, aren't they, in these lately? Arteta, how?
Go on!
No, I've just seen this free apparently, which is not what I wanted to see at all.
Why couldn't Villa do this against Olympiacos?
Not good. Duran with a brace. Duran. Right. What's that?
Yeah, I think a bit like the talisman thing, just keep Saka in your team.
All season long.
It just scores points from any possible thing, and even for a single game week, just if they've got a good fixture and it's a single game week, it's not a rush to get rid of him. Do you know what I mean?
Do you not think Palmer's the same, Ben?
Who?
Palmer.
Yeah.
He seems to be getting points even when he's not scoring.
Yeah.
He'll get an assist or he'll get bonus. He'll get those player performance marks.
And he hasn't played in Europe this year either. So that's just how well he's done this year.
Wow, yeah, 4th highest scoring player in the game, and it's not by much either. He's got 353, and the highest scoring Haaland's got 367. So that's like what, 14 points difference.
Mm. He's been fit all year round as well, hasn't he? No injuries.
We've got David87 up next. Anyone else fed up with injury roulette every week? Been stung by Bruno this week and so many other times this season. What are the chances you think they go back to pre-kickoff deadlines?
I don't think they will, but I mean, I understand where it's coming from, because before you could react to the team news, couldn't you, and just make a transfer before the kickoff. But I think in a way it benefits all the managers, that there's a deadline. So then you just do your team and then it's done and you can't do anything about it. If this injury comes up during the Saturday or the Sunday, you can't do anything about it. But like the people that are engaged, the managers that are always on their phone checking all the kickoffs, like last season or in the old game, like ourselves, we used to benefit from that, didn't we? Because we'd be checking the lineups and making sure this player's playing, and if this player isn't playing, we'd have a different plan to bring in somebody else. So yeah, what do you think, Andy?
I echo what you're saying, Ben. Yeah, if it was like it was pre the changes, and you had a player that hadn't played during the week, then obviously you could change them for somebody else that hasn't played in the week as well. So yeah, that would benefit the people that have got their eye on the ball. However, what I think would be even better is if they did it the same way as the Telegraph Fantasy Football, whereas even if your player has played already, you can change them during the game week and get points from somebody else, whether they've played or not. That way you could sort of like, you could gain fixtures then. I think it'd make the game more exciting if they did it that way. So then people would look at lineups and then make a decision. Oh, well, so-and-so's not playing this game. I haven't used all my transfers this week, so I'll change him for this person because they've got a double game next week as well. So yeah, but I think the Sun wants to, by taking it down to just having one team per person, the sort of like taking the good players from getting all the glory. They're wanting to make it more of a level playing field, and I think that's the reason why these changes have come in like this, and it's just to make it more attractive to players coming into the game than because they might think, well, we don't really want to play Sun Dream Team because it's the same people that are at the top every year in, year out. But there are other people now that are doing quite well. Even in my mini league, there's like about 4 or 5 players that are doing really well that don't normally do that well during the season. So I think it's great the way that it's been changed.
Yeah,
it makes it more exciting.
I think if you've got a busy lifestyle as well, it's very hard to keep on top of the ball and trying to do all these transfers. At least if you've got the deadline, then you just pick your team and then you can get on with your weekend. You can go out with your family, or you can get on with stuff in the house. You're not constantly checking your phone. Amount of hours I've sat looking at lineups when I'm out with my family and out shopping. I'm like, just 1 minute, I've got to make a transfer. And then I'm sat there for 30 minutes, like, do it, because before there was more teams, so I'm probably doing half an hour doing 10 teams, you know what I mean? But yeah, what do you think, Scott?
I don't think they'll change it. I think they'll probably just keep it the same. I've been relatively happy with it. I feel like it's frustrating when it does happen to you, without doubt, and it is. I'll be surprised if anyone's not had it happen to them at some point this season. But I might go one of those lazy answers, like it equals itself out over the course of the season for people, I think. But
I've had it twice on Haaland captain, where he's not played.
Yes. The only thing that you could say is maybe making it the first kickoff rather than the first deadline, but it still only gives you like one game, doesn't it?
Yeah, like Sky. Sky plays up to the first kickoff, and then you get to see the first lineup.
But then I guess on Sky you get to do the first kickoff of every game, don't you?
Every game day, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't mind that too much, but yeah, I'm fairly happy with how it is. I don't think they're going to change it. Sorry, I think we'll see.
I wonder if they do a petition again.
Did they do that? Did they put it to the people?
Yeah, they did. But I didn't get the email. You obviously didn't get one, but I think a lot of people did get an email asking about the game.
Yeah, we'll see. Let us know what you think in the comments. What sort of deadlines you'd want. But it does seem like they've sort of tried to move towards a more FPL style. I think they've sort of concluded that that's the biggest game, and that means that some of the features are right, which I don't necessarily think is right. But yeah, not much we can do about it at this point. And then we've got Patrick up next. I mean, Wazza just mentioned about the bonus points we've covered. And I think we've pretty much covered Patrick's, really. Bar Haaland, Foden and KDB. Your top 3 other City assets for the final 2 game weeks. I'm going to add Vardiol to his list because I think everyone's got Vardiol as well. What do you reckon, Andy?
I'm going to say Rodri, because he always likes popping up with a goal in a final. So I think he's probably going to score in the FA Cup final. And also Bernardo Silva and possibly Doku.
Yeah, I think I've got the same three as you, mate. Silva, Rodri, Doku. If Doku's going to start, we'll hopefully get a leak.
Yeah, I don't think. I think Silva and Rodri definitely for me. Yeah, I don't know who I'd be bringing in as an extra. He'll probably end up being a defender in the end, but it's not very exciting. Probably a Walker.
The bonus points. Foden's only 1 point ahead of Doku, and he's played like double the amount of games on the bonus points, 52 and 51. So yeah, if Doku was starting every week, he'd be amazing for this game, wouldn't he? Could be
Let's hope he's going to become the Jack Grealish of last season, next season.
Yeah, you don't know who they're going to bring in, do you?
No, not yet.
Right. Do you want to take us through your teams? I'll just be two secs. You start us off, Ben.
81 points this week. Raya 7 points. Gabriel 8. Vardio 19. Akanji 8 coming for Ben White. I went a bit differential and decided to take Ben White out and keep Gabriel, hoping for a goal. Didn't come. De Bruyne 9. Bruno Fernandes blank. Foden 10. Palmer 9. Isak 3. I brought Son in. I was going to captain him, but I changed my mind last minute and went Haaland. He got 4, and Haaland got me 2, double to 4. Yeah, that's me. What do you think? How did you get on, Andrew?
I think I brought in the same players that you've got up front. I took Watkins out because obviously he's gone down to a single game week and they're not in the final, so he's only going to have obviously tonight's game and next week. I decided to take out Saka as well for Arsenal, and it was basically due to the fact that I just wanted to take advantage of more fixtures, and I brought in Isaac and Son. Another thing that I didn't think I was going to do all week, I had my captaincy on Haaland, and on Saturday morning I decided, well, I'll put it on Son, because I just thought Burnley, they've been playing all right, but they've been letting a lot of goals in, and I thought Son might have done a lot better than he would have done than he did do, but he's still a couple of points better than Haaland. So I'm just hoping that Haaland keeps quiet tomorrow, and then I'll have been justified in my captain pick. So the rest of my team, I've got 77 points for the week, which is everybody's teams are kind of samey now. 4 points for Anana, 4 points for Dalot, Vardiol with his 19 points, White with 9 points, Foden, De Bruyne 10 and 9 points respectively. I was toying with the idea of taking Fernandes out. I know Tony did take Fernandes out, but obviously I thought that I'd probably want to bring him back in for the final, because that's the only Man U player that I'd really want in for the final if they got there. So I decided to leave him in. And it's not necessary. I mean, if I'd have taken him out, I'd have left Saka in. So at the end of the day, I've not really lost out much. It's only a few points, isn't it, that Saka got on the weekend?
Yeah, just the 4. I think it's one off. I think it was one off getting 3 bonus points. I think it was in the end. One ppm. So,
I was wound up with Son because he had 5 points, didn't he? And he ended up getting his bonus point taken off of him.
Yeah, that's the only thing when you do watch it live, you watch him gain the bonus, but you forget that they can end up losing it.
Yeah.
86 for me, but yeah, I ended up sort of moving a different direction to what I'd planned really, because I was going to go Kyle Walker in. I didn't fancy swapping to any of the other City defenders. And in the end, I just thought I'd take a bit of a punt, and I took Bruno Fernandes out and Ollie Watkins for Isak and Son. Thought I'll go a bit more attacking. It leaves me less players for the final. But yeah, I was expecting more from Son and Isak, but half time, I suppose, still time to go. And I felt a bit better about it bringing Isak in, seeing how highly owned he was. If he did end up going off, that would have hurt us. But Haaland captain as well, so quiet night for the strikers, or quiet day for the strikers. I think that had me up to about 120th or something like that. So doing all right. And Tony will have to fit us back in when he's back from holiday, but he's got Jackson in there, and Jackson's still doing the business for him.
It's all about getting him in at the right time.
Yep. No, he seems to have a knack for it. I don't have a knack for the strikers, but he seems to, with his Cunhas, his Jacksons, he seems to have a bit of a knack for choosing these strikers at the right time.
Yeah.
Before we quickly go on to the mini leagues, reading out the leagues, I just want to shout out a few of our new Patreon members. Seem to be getting a few more. I think people are getting prepped for this Euro 2024. So Darren, shout out to Darren Franks, Ian Curry, who's joining us in the chat, been giving us our live updates on the score. Liverpool and Villa finished 3-3, so I wish I hadn't seen that one, to be fair. Not good for my second team for the week, Spurs. We've also got
forever, eh?
Yeah.
Well, if Spurs win tomorrow, then they're only going to be 2 points behind Villa, so they've still got it to play for.
Then we've also got Sonny Barger and Jamie Jenks joining us for the summer, for the Euros. So welcome to the Patreon. Cash League in third place. We've got C. Tobin in second, Anthony Sutcliffe, and still at the top, S. Powell, smashing it, doing really, really well this season. Do we know where he is overall at the moment?
10th, S. Powell.
10th.
I was just looking before. The top three are in the top 60.
Blimey.
That's fantastic.
Decent going. Second Chance League. Ben, you want to grab that?
Yeah, Anthony Sutcliffe in third, G. Walker in second, and Tom Gledhill first.
Andy, what's happened in the tag team, mate?
Oh, well, Tony's got a little bit unlucky. Do you know what? When I were having my troubles, sort of like mid to going on for late season with my defenders and wrong choices and what have you, obviously Tony was pulling everything out of the bag, wasn't he? And now I'm kind of, well, up until this week, I've been doing all right, and Tony's been getting unlucky with, with choices that he's been making. But like I say, there's total points 78-41. Third place is 78-44. It pays down to 3, doesn't it? And then 65. So there's not a massive difference.
That's really tight, isn't it?
It is. It's really tight. So it's still all to play for. And I personally think it could come down to who chooses what captain. I really do at the end.
That battle for third is really tight.
Yeah.
41.
But 20 points. 20 points could be made. Look at Guardiola with 19 points. All it takes is for one of us to have a player that the other ones don't have. And this is the thing. All of these teams are probably going to have at least 8 players that are the same in them. So it comes down to your differentials.
Your Jackson.
That's correct, yeah.
But unfortunately, only the top 3 get read out in this tag team. So let's kick us off with third.
So in third place, we've got Connor Story and Scott Harris. Second place, you've got Lewis Wright and Matthew Kent. And in first place, Baz McCormack and Ben Coles.
They were looking
streaming ahead, over 100 points clear, eh?
Yeah,
113 points in front.
I think they can moonwalk over the finish line. I think they've got that wrapped up. It's too many Michael Jackson references coming along in this podcast, isn't there? Patreon Cash League, Baz McCormack in third, Connor Tobin in second, and Anthony Sutcliffe in first. Tonic divisions. Which one are you in, Andy?
I'm in the Premier League.
Cool. Oh, yeah.
I was hoping, up until about a week or two ago, I wasn't that too far away because I want to get into the Champions League and I wasn't too far away from sixth. But I am now. I'm sort of like 70 points behind sixth place. So that's going to be hard to make up. But anyway, in third place, we've got our very own Scott Harris with Rice Baby. Second place, Baz McCormack, Jap Sayaps, and Humble Higgins. Is that Oliver Higgins?
Owen Higgins.
He's in the chat, actually. He said I skipped his question because he said he's on for the title charge. So that I'm bringing him up on the screen here. How many points is that?
Top four. There's nothing in it in the top four.
Oh yeah, that's not that much. Yeah, nah, Owen, I'm catching you, mate. You're done.
Hey,
I reckon it's going to come down to captain picks.
Hey, by the way, it's good to see my name on a mini league leaderboard for the first time in a long time.
Oh, you've done me by 1 point, Ben.
Yeah, I'm in the top 10 now.
I edited it in him out last week, didn't I? And in eighth, Ben.
Yeah.
Eighth, Ben, 10, Andy. We'll let you off. Championship. We've got Jay McGow in third, Connor Tobin in second, and Anthony Sutcliffe in first. Again, sick of reading Tony's name out. Doing too well. There you go, Ben. You give us the League One.
Jay Payton in third with Manchester United. Second, Lee Giles with Sound of Eden. And first, Mark Warner with Glazers Out FC.
Oh, boy. Glazers out. Right, lads. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, Andy.
It's been great fun as usual. I'm very pleased that you asked me back on again. I've really enjoyed it.
Loving the jumper, mate.
I was just seeing that, yeah.
Oh, do you know what? There was something that I was going to mention today. Obviously there's been a little bit of advertising. There's a company called Footy Fits that can do things like this. But this is just my support for the boys, Dream Team Tonic. There's no better pre-match team talk, and that is basically on here for the stream that you do for the deadline stream. It's fantastic listening to the deadline stream before, and there's quite a lot of people that are watching on the deadline stream. I see there's like 200-300 people, so it just goes to show that there are people that are interested. So yeah, we're just coming up to the Euros. So if you want to get the lowdown on things that are going on in some Dream Team for the Euros, get yourself across to the Patreon and join up, and you can get involved in the conversation that everybody has in there. And the other thing was, do you know the question that it said, what are the points that you've learned from the season? One of the points that I was thinking was, there's other things that have held me back this season, and I haven't had the opportunity to, I've not written things down. If only I had a diary of some type, it would really help out. But yeah, somebody said last week something about Footy Fits doing a diary for the Dream Team next year. It won't be good for next year, but I think it will be good for the year after. Now, if I had a diary this year and I'd written everything down, that would have helped me for this upcoming season. So yeah, if anybody wants to get a Dream Team diary, get yourselves across to Footy Fits and get one of them. And It might not help you next year, but I can guarantee it probably will help you immensely the year after next. And that's my plug for you boys.
Well, we'll get you on just for the ads each week. Me to shame. No, thank you very much. That's brilliant. Yeah, I'll put a link for that in the description as well if you want to check out Tony's notebooks for the Dream Team season. But yeah, should we wrap that up?
Yep. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks a lot for having me on, gents, and thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.